Most build-to-rent developers lose money even before the first tenant moves in. It's because they didn't think about the stabilization process before it was too late. In this video, I'm gonna walk you through the exact process I use with developers before they even submit their site plans to the city. I'm gonna show you how we have saved 6 figures for developers by just asking the right questions early on. Let's dive in to really what the structure looks like when developers are going out to find a build-to-rent community. It typically starts out with your land acquisition team. That land acquisition team is actually going to go out and try to find viable options of dirt that are across multiple markets. They typically can span in those areas and demographic where dirt is obtainable, and they have that viability all the way through from zoning, entitlements. They just need to make sure that their due diligence that they're doing on this property can actually into a viable build-to-rent community. Let's dive a little bit more into that. So you've got your land acquisition, then you've got your development teams. So now you're going to get into, well, what does this actually look like on a 50,000 foot scale? So we're going to look at this and go, okay, so I've got a plat map that I'm going to place over this piece of dirt. How does it look? What does it look like? How is it going to design? How is it going to flow? So the developer, land acquisition has done their job. Developer comes in and goes, okay, it's time to do our job. Get it prepared to be able to go through city council, making sure that their ideas and plans can go onto paper. This is the biggest and hardest part of building a build-to-rent community is 50,000 foot scale, map about this big, and can I actually visually see it of it flowing and working and passing and getting it to from a master or a planned community to the final project completed all the way through. So here's what lies the problem. The problem is developers have a mindset of, I want to do this and I want to get it to the end state of final build. There's another part of this. That part is taking that idea and seeing it 10 years down the road. How is that product, that build-to-rent product, going to produce in the next 10 years? Are we actually going to get the amenity placement correct? Are we going to get the right trash enclosures for the way the community is built? Is the mailboxes in the right place? Is the clubhouse placed in the front, the back, the middle? Where are they putting it? Most developers like to just throw stuff on a piece of paper and go, this looks cool. They don't have anyone to guide them through those steps that are needed. And it all comes down to, how is this project going to perform? Are they actually going to have a viable build-to-rent community 5, 10, 20 years down the road? So those are the biggest keys. Now let's jump into more of the relationship side of how I start my relationship with these developers. A lot of times it's just getting to know who it is I want to work with. I want to know everything about that person, the organization, who do they have? I meet with them. It's all about the relationship in the very beginning, because you got to have synergy with who you're going to work with. I want to make sure that if we come in and we give you advice, direction, that we understand that, hey, this is what it is that I'm telling you that is going to benefit the community in that 5 and 10 years down the road. How is it going to lease up? Is it going to be that viable product? We got to have a relationship. So we start out, let's go to coffee, have a Starbucks, have some coffee, and then go figure out, how are we going to work well with each other? Because I know within the first 10 minutes of our meeting, are we going to jive? So it comes down to the biggest part of this is the relationship behind the vision that they have. And typically a developer or a group or a team or an operation has a vision, and we've got to align on that vision. I want to know what drives that development team, that organization for that build-to-rent community, because it's imperative. It's actually important that we get that synergy between us, because then I get excited about the community and the vision that you are working towards. I get bought off onto it, and then I'm super jazzed and excited for that vision and that forward momentum. And then we have that synergy. So we can work forward to that next step. That relationship starts to cultivate. So when I see development plans and when these come across my table, we have already had that relationship meeting. I want to make sure we understand each other and that we're the right fit to move forward, because the success of that community still falls down to the relationship that we have. So let's dive a little bit deeper. After we've had this introduction and after we are jiving, we're on the same page. I see your vision. I see where it's going to go. I'm like, all right, I'm set. Let's go. I want to dig into the deep places of where that vision is going to take us. So show me what you've got. Okay. Land acquisition did their job. Okay. We've got the dirt. They've acquired it. Typically, they've got an LOI on the property and they're currently in due diligence. This is where it's imperative that we come in and go, okay, let's take this 50,000 foot scale on this map and let's place this into the right pieces to get this forward before they submit the plans. Now, what are we going to break this down into? Okay. It's not just, hey, here's a spreadsheet of things that we need to check off. It's, does the project flow? Most build to rent communities, if you're going to have a clubhouse or you're going to have some amenities, you're going to treat it very similar to a multifamily in the sense that you want to be the forward face of someone coming to that community. If they're going to come in, they're going to have a clubhouse, they're going to have a nice amenity, they're going to be shown that, hey, this is where I want to live. So strategically placing clubhouses at the front entrance, grand entrances to the community. Now, again, you don't have to go that way, but that's why we have these discussions. I want to see the map. I want to see the breakdown. Now, you've got the clubhouse. What amenities? Are you offering a pool? Is it just a cabana and, some smaller little features that you have in this community? Or there's going to be pickleball courts. I mean, the endless list of amenities, but it's how are you strategically placing them throughout the community? Dog parks, tot lots, where are these going? Even down to the simple location of your mailbox. Is it within a gated community? Is it not? All of these things that you start to look through on this 50,000 foot scale map and go, okay, how do we want this to perform in the 5 to 10 years? And it's all about that lease up, what the demographic is looking like. So we take all this. I take all these plans. I start to build in my mind, okay, where are the logistics of this community? How is it going to work? And then we talk about it. We start drawing on the map. Hey, can your architect move this over here? Can we place this in the right vision as you're coming into this grand community? Do I want to live here? It's the biggest piece about trying to get renters engaged into that community. It is how it is marketed and placed in front of them. Because if I go through a shiny store and I see that shiny thing, I am attracted to it. That's what we want. We want the grand entrance to the community. It doesn't have to be super expensive by any means. It just has to be placed correct. So we go through the placement of all of these amenities, the clubhouses. Do we have EV chargers? Are all of these things thought about before they submit? This is a part of your due diligence. We work with the developers and we save thousands, if not 6 figures for developers by solving these early on. Now, if you find any of this helpful, I want you to click that button, save this, send it to your developers and making sure that are they going through this checklist in their mind? Do they have a partner that actually believes in what they're doing? So save this, make sure you save it and bring it back up, because going through these detailed lists, and there is a lot more, you just got to think about, okay, put me in this scenario on that map. I'm walking through the community. How does it visually look? Is it appealing? Does it make sense? Is the placement correct? Do I want a trash can right out in front of the clubhouse that is open to the world and seeing a bunch of trash into there? It's how you place it. It's how you design the community for the efficiency and how it flows. Once we get down this road and into the next segment of where it makes sense to partner with a management group that is going to take your build to rent community and make it successful throughout the entire process. So we're early on. Now let's put the budgets and the pieces and stack the blocks on top of each other. We're going to create a foundation from there. So we're going to build a budget, a pro forma, and we're going to build this so that we know the utilities in the districts. We're going to know what the trash rates are, the water rates. Is this the time? Talking about vertical. Now we're going to go start getting into vertical. So plans are submitted. What are some of the other things that we need to add to this? How are we thinking about utilities? Are they standalone? How does the BTR community, do they want to be single tax IDs? Are they one tax ID for the whole community? How are you going to set the utilities in the community? Now, this is a perfect example of where other builders will forget or developers will forget to go, oh, hey, maybe this is the opportunity for the end group, whether it's the investor, whoever it is at the end of this. Hey, how are we doing our bill backs for all of our utility management? Are we actually sub-metering the water? Is it per unit that's metered? Is it through the city? Is it one in, one out? How is that being calculated? And if you think about it early and you place that into service early, you can actually meter the water and bill that back so that you don't have to come up with some sort of, all-encompassing package. Now, there's some other things to think about. Are there going to be smart home technologies that are coming into these communities? Are we thinking about, hey, I'm going to add the smart home here. I'm going to add this, this feature here. Are they building it within the plans so that it is easy to bring in those groups to put in those smart features? You build it before we go, so you don't have to retrofit anything after the fact. So once we come up with the budget, the pro forma, we list it out and we go line item by line item. We're going to make sure that we actually have that budget dialed in. We even go as far as trying to figure out what is the insurance burden is going to be onto this property. And then if we can, what's the debt service going to be? Now, a lot of this might be early, but we're building this into a budget as we're going through these processes so that we make sure that all the right questions are being asked before we go vertical. So we have a budget, we have a pro forma. Now, what also does that look like? So you have staffing. What's your back-end support? What is the management company's back-end support versus on-site management support? What does that look like? So having a staffing plan is very important when building these. So as we get down to this process and they've got all this information, we were working with the developers from square one, from the dirt through development, through architecture, through final build plans, and then vertical. We like to get in there and actually go see the project as it's developing. Before we get our first four-way, we want to walk the project with the development team and go, okay, is this actually coming together as it was planned on a 50,000 foot scale? It's really hard even to be perfect at that 50,000 foot scale, because as you go vertical, you're like, wait, we got to make a tweak here before we get further down the project, because you see things as it's actually coming out of the ground. So it's very important to have your partners with you. You need a partner in this. That partner is very important through the success of your BTR community. So we walk it, we make those tweaks and adjustments, and then that project continues to go on. Then you've got to ask the questions. Are we now ready to start thinking about stabilization, marketing, and bringing this to life? Is this community going to start actually leasing prior to construction being completed? So knowing all these things and actually coordinating with the builders, the developers early on, and knowing timelines so you can execute perfectly on, hey, I've got marketing dialed in. We've got our signage. We've got everything we need to continue this on down through the line so that even during construction and phasing, the management team can start leasing out as the phases start to come on. And how do you control that? How does it look to that outside renter? So once we get to the final piece of this, where we've gone through the stages, we see the community coming together, and now we can start operating, marketing. Our team is in place. We're starting to get recognized. So we've got websites, we've got recognition on all of the Google sites, we've got our logos, we've got everything built out prior to even the launch date. We're pre-marketing, we've got our staff, we've got everything rolling. And now it's the fun part. It's actually stabilizing this community, getting renters in the door to actually rent this product and start to stabilize as you're going through stages. You're actually seeing the vision that we had in the very beginning. Before we even started this, you actually get to see, by working with a partner like us, you actually get to see the vision where the development team in the group thought about in the very beginning and actually getting it to life. That's the most exciting part. This is what is so fun about build to rent communities is you can start at the beginning, you partner with each other on this. It's a partnership. You see it through the stages, you get it to that final stage of actually leasing up the product and actually seeing people enjoying what you have built. That vision comes to life. You get to see a thriving community of renters and families and people getting to live inside of something you built. And it is very, very exciting to actually see that at the end. And guess what? The 5-year, the 10-year, it's going to continue to last through it. So let's recap here. Beginning, we talked about that relationship, okay? That relationship is key. Then we talked about the dive, where we dive into, okay, here's the 50,000 foot scale. I've got a map. I've got the community. How are we going to strategically start placing things so it actually makes the vision come to life and actually has a smooth feel to the community? And then we go to, what does the operational blueprint look like? We're starting to build the budgets. We're starting to figure out the utilities. We're seeing, how does this community actually operate once it starts to go vertical? And then you get down to the final piece of it and where we're launching it, where you actually get to see that final product come to life. Now, if this is valuable to you, I want you to save this. I want you to share it. I want you to remember that there is a process in development that is not just the developer, land acquisition team, even to the fund group that's like, hey, I want to build a build to rent community. Who is your partners you're bringing along with it? Who is actually going to provide you with the success and the vision after the end? You know, we look forward to having those conversations. Let's go have coffee. Let's go sit down and talk about your vision and how is it we can get this to come to life. This is what we do. We do build to rent communities. We have a passion, we have a vision for it, we have an eye for it. We know how build to rent communities become successful. So follow us, share this, and if you don't use us, use this information to make sure that your build to rent community is a success and continues to be for years down.